Today, we're going to look at the Canon EOS R and the Canon EOS RP with the Canon EF-S 10-18 lens for vlogging. We'll go through some of the vlogging modes and see how they look. Let's go! What's up everybody? Phil with Photo Gear Fun here today. Got a little video for you. I'm going to show you vlogging on the EOS R and the EOS RP with a Canon 10-18 EF-S lens. So this lens is for crop sensor, but we're using it on these two full frame sensors, and you're basically only going to get crop mode out of this. So the normal crop on a crop sensor Canon camera is 1.6. The crop in video for both of these is 1.7. So it's actually just a little different than the standard crop, but this is 4K 24 frames per second on the EOS RP, and very challenging situation. We are at 10 millimeters, which is as wide as it will go. So it's equivalent roughly to about 17 millimeters. So here is 10. We'll zoom in to 18. So that's all the way zoomed in at 18 millimeters, holding it on the tripod at arm's length. We'll go back out to 10. I've got the digital stabilization on, as well as the stabilization in the lens. So this does have lens stabilization, and that is enabled. And again, you can see when I'm walking in this direction, challenging. We're at f16. I don't have an ND filter, so this is f16. So there's probably pictures degraded a little bit because of that. The audio is coming from the Ceramic Blink 500. You can see that wind muff. It's really windy out here today, so I put the wind muff on. But this is what you can expect to see when you're vlogging. And this again has dual pixel autofocus. It's doing a good job. I've got eye tracking on, face tracking on. So it's doing a good job of just tracking my face. Almost tripped. So again, this is the Canon EOS RP. We're in 4K, 24 frames per second. I'm going to switch over to 1080p. 1080p is not available on the EOS R. For some reason it's only 720 and 4K, which is strange, but that's the way they chose to do it with the RP. But on the R, you can go to 1080. So we're going to flip it over to 1080 video, and should see basically the same framing, but coming up next is 1080p. So we're in 1080p now. Everything is the same settings. Just 1080p, 24 frames per second. Again, here is 10 millimeter. I'm slowly zooming in to 18, and there's 18, so that's as tight as it can get. And then that's completely zoomed out. Again, this is the Canon EOS R. 1080p, it's got that dual pixel autofocus. Should be doing a good job. Face tracking is on again. But this is 1080p on the EOS R. And again, the sound's coming from the Ceramic Blink 500 wireless system. So we're going to show you what the EOS RP can do. We'll show you those, and then we'll go back into the studio. We'll talk a little bit more about these cameras, and then we'll wrap it up. All right, and now we're on the EOS RP. This is 4K. There is no phase detect autofocus, contrast only. I did a video about this one. If you want to check it out, we're at 10 millimeters right now. I've got it hold it at arm's length on the Manfrotto Pixie tripod. Check out the background in a second here. So this is 10 millimeters, roughly the equivalent of 17. And we can zoom it all the way in. And that is at 18 millimeters. So here's 18 millimeters. And there's 10 millimeters. All the cameras are set with the same profiles, so everything should be very similar for the picture. But again, this is the EOS RP. We're at 4K, 24 frames per second on the 10-18. Right now we're at 10 millimeters with that crop. It's about the equivalent of 17. It's a 1.7 times crop. Again, no dual pixel autofocus in this mode for the RP. And there is no 1080p, strangely enough, so you can do 720. But this is what you can expect. And digital stabilization is on, as well as stabilization in the lens. So you can see the stabilization, how well that's working. Seems to be doing a really good job. So we're going to take you back into the studio. I just want to show you a couple of the menu settings to drive home some of these points that we have about what the modes that are available for each camera. And again, look at the video. Maybe we'll do a side-by-side, but here is contrast-based, not dual pixel. You just saw the dual pixel focus on the EOS R. In my opinion, much, much better. So let's go back into the studio and we'll talk a little bit more about these two cameras and the 10-18 EF-S lens for vlogging. Here's the menu on the EOS R. You can see I'm looking in the video modes right now. You have almost all the video modes available. You can see 4K at 24p. You can also see Full HD also at 24p and HD at 60p up to 60p. And you can see you've got the all-eye compression, which is a pretty good high bitrate compression for the EOS R. So basically you have almost everything available to you when you want to record for the EOS R. And we're going to look at the EOS RP here. You can see there are fewer options. You've got HD, which is 720p at 30 and 59, and then you've got 4K at 24 frames per second. So between the two, you can see that you have far fewer recording options and bitrate options on the EOS RP, but this is kind of what the EOS RP looks like. Also wanted to show you, this is on the EOS R, how you can change, normally you can change the crop mode, and you can see here this is with a regular lens on it, an RF lens on it, that you've got full and 1.6 and all those different modes available to you. When you're using the EF-S lens, you just basically have that 1.6 crop setting, and it actually ends up being a 1.7 crop. Hope you enjoyed this video. Get out there and have your photo gear fun. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing. If you do subscribe, click on that bell icon, and that will allow you to be notified whenever we go live or we put a new video up. I will talk at you again in the next video. Thanks so much for watching.